I would like to welcome everyone to MIPI DevCon 2021. I am Justin. I'm the MIPI DevCon chair, and I want to thank all of you for attending this year's event. And really this year, we're trying to build off of our experience from last year's virtual event. And our team has worked very hard to prepare a great agenda filled with some relevant presentations and member demos with a panel to round out the end of each day. And we look forward to an informative 2 days with a special track later today for our attendees in Asia. So today's conference segment will last 4 hours. We'll have presentations, demos, and breaks interspersed throughout the day. And please visit our demo booths for more information about our members' demos. There will be a live Q&A to follow each session, with an exception to the State of the Alliance and technical roadmap. And all of our presentations will be available at mipi.org following the event. So if you missed a session, or if you want to share with a friend, feel free to do so after the event. I'd like to thank all of our demo participants and sponsors. And with that, I'd like to introduce today's sponsor, Introspect Technology, who will share a short message. Thanks. And without further ado, please welcome Peter Lefkin, MIPI Alliance Managing Director, who will present the State of the Alliance. Take it away, Peter.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the 2021 DevCon. We certainly would prefer to be together rather than in our home offices here, wherever you are in the world, but we do appreciate you attending and registering and setting aside the time. I think you'll see that we have a great agenda and set of talks throughout the DevCon event. And this is really one of the only places that you can obtain education in the form that we provide that to you today. So I'm just going to take a little bit of time to go through kind of current view of the Alliance and then focus a little bit on the DevCon content. I won't go through the whole agenda, but I'll align it with and tie it to the strategic priorities that we have as an organization. So my name is Peter Lefkin. I'm Managing Director of MIPI Alliance. I've been Managing Director now for going over 11 years, but I've been involved in MIPI since its inception. And, you know, I use this slide a little bit. Some people give me a little bit of grief over this slide showing very old phones, but I think it describes the history of MIPI in a nutshell. We came into existence in 2003, really to standardize camera and display interfaces at a time when vendors had to pick and choose both camera, display, and there was no standardized interface. And I think the mobile industry and the founders of MIPI realized that in order to scale mobile in the way that it has, and nobody could have predicted necessarily that it, you know, transformed in the way that it has and transformed many other industries, which I'll touch on a little bit further in the talk. But MIPI has evolved since then, and coming forward into 2021 now, 18 years later, there's at least one MIPI specification in every smartphone today. We're comfortable saying that. We know that that's, you know, a fact. And we've developed more than 50 specifications covering the full range of interface applications needed for mobile devices. And as mobile has evolved and influenced other industries, so too has MIPI, and so too have the applications and systems that we've developed too as well. If you look at the ecosystem of MIPI Alliance and the members over time, it really started out with the device OEMs, the application processor developers, and the semiconductor companies. And as MIPI has evolved, as the specifications were implemented in the marketplace, we've really filled out the ecosystem of mobile, non-mobile companies as well, with test equipment companies, test labs, IP and VIP providers, full range of consumer electronics companies, as well as automotive OEMs and tier one suppliers. And you'll be hearing a lot more about our automotive activities throughout the conference today and tomorrow. We do have over 385 members. Some of us are shooting for 400 members by year end in 29 countries. And we've had year over year membership growth. Not a single downturn in membership in any of the given years, even going through 2008 and some of the tech situations or issues that we had at that time. But we've had year over year growth, and every week I'm surprised, every month surprised by the companies who remain interested and those who do join. MIPI specifications are, there's not just one specification. Show me MIPI or tell me about MIPI, or teach me about MIPI is something that, some people who are not aware of MIPI come to us and say, can you tell us about MIPI? Well, MIPI is really a bunch, cohesive set of specifications that represent the mobile device architecture. And on the left side of this PowerPoint, you see the mobile system diagram. We have another mobile system diagram for automotive, system diagram for also IoT, really specifying the specifications that are within mobile, also for automotive and IoT. And you can see on the right side, MIPI specifications are found in a range of different application areas, including automotive, industrial, consumer electronics and heads-up displays, the aviation industry, the medical device industry, especially where cameras are needed, and IoT. We see a wide range of applications developed with MIPI specifications. This slide really just represents the board and contributor members. I won't go through this. We have about 3 times as many adopter members to reach that 385 number. And you can see we have a small board of, Intel, Qualcomm, Bosch, Samsung, ST, Synopsys, and TI. So 7 members make up the board. The contributor members are really those who are participating in the day-to-day development activities within the working groups. The adopter members receive the specifications when they're published to all members. So that's really the kind of the dividing line between adopters and contributors. Contributors are able to participate in the specification development, see the requirements gathering and how the specifications evolve, all of the contributions that come to the table. For those who are adopters, we really encourage you to join at a contributor level. We understand that it takes resources in humans, but it also provides a level of information that you just don't get as an adopter member. So as I indicated in my opening, I'd like to focus a little bit on some of the focus areas that we have. In particular, you can see the technical roadmap, automotive SerDes, security, 5G, IoT, and developer education are areas that I'm going to touch on today. We do have a strategic planning process that we instituted probably about 10 years ago when I first came on as managing director. We recognize that setting strategic priorities for an organization like MIPI is important, and many standards organizations don't necessarily do that on a year-by-year basis. But what we've seen as we've set up the strategic priorities from year to year, and now we're on a 2-year cadence for that development cycle, it's really changed the discussions that we're able to have and set a direction as to strategic priorities do. But it enables us to have conversations and set priorities within the working groups that prior to that, I think it was a little bit more difficult to do. So let me just touch on these a little bit to give you a flavor of where we are on some of our strategic priorities. The technical roadmap is incredibly important for MIPI. As you can imagine, developing specifications across the organization in over 15 working groups that are working at different phases of their life cycle. Managing the technical roadmap is an interesting endeavor, and we've evolved that over the years as well. And even so, this year we've put in place with the technical steering group's assistance, basically an automated way to manage the technical roadmap, just as you would in your corporation. This year, we have 17 specifications that we expect to be adopted by year end, with major updates and new versions of all the MIPI PHYs. We also have camera, display, I3C basic, which a press release was just issued a little while ago. All of the MIPI PHYs, including A5 V version 1.1, C5 version 2.1, D5 version 3.0, and M5 version 5.0. All of those are, a good majority of those are specifications, especially camera, display, C5, D5, that have been around almost, especially D5, since its inception. A5 version 1.1 is now in the hands of members, and we will be initiating a requirements gathering and really just specifying what's needed for A5 version 2.0 moving forward. So I encourage those who are not active, this is a good time to get involved as well. In terms of DevCon, you'll see a roadmap update. I believe that follows my presentation here. And then you'll see new specification panel discussions for CSI2 v4.0, as well as the MIPI I3C ecosystem, talking to some of the subject matter experts about those two important specifications for MIPI. So I encourage you to, if you haven't already, obviously you're here, you've registered for the event, so feel free to attend those sessions as well. And if you're unable to, they are going to be recorded and are recorded, so you'll have access to those post DevCon. In terms of the automotive SerDes, I think many of you have been following the automotive industry and their evolution and implementation of ADAS systems. Certainly for our camera display specifications, they are widely adopted in automotive today. This is, especially camera, this is not aspirational for MIPI. What we did do is put together a mass framework. So MIPI Automotive SerDes Solutions. It's a framework of specifications that really tied together all of MIPI's work and activities in support of the automotive ecosystem. You'll see a presentation during DevCon on latest developments within MIPI Automotive SerDes Solutions by Rick and James, who are subject matter experts who will provide additional details on the automotive SerDes on mass. You see a white paper there in the middle, and you can download that paper today. It's actually a new white paper, so I encourage all of you to download that. And in recent news, obviously, this happened a little bit ago, but MIPI A5 version 1.0 was adopted as an IEEE standard. We feel that that's incredibly important to enable the industry, who may or may not be involved or members of MIPI, to be able to view, access, implement A5, especially automotive OEMs who may or may not join MIPI Alliance as a member. We do have a number of automotive OEMs and tier ones who are members. Then I indicated earlier also A5 version 1.1, the latest version of MIPI A5 is complete, is in the hands of members. And as I indicated earlier, very important as we move forward and evolve A5, do participate in the A5 working group. We will be defining kind of the next generation version 2.0 A5 as well. This is a new area for MIPI and security. And so all throughout MIPI's history, we've kind of looked at security maybe as, outside the scope or outside of the specific specifications that we developed, and really handled by, security experts or security applications that reside or are on top of MIPI specifications. So MIPI itself has really never, until a couple of years ago, really worked forward toward a security specification. And so we put together a birds of a feather, which is just a group of members and non-members in the security space to identify particular needs, primarily driven by automotive requirements. Although we do see and we do know that our security specification, for automotive will be used also for IoT, and we expect it to be used for mobile as well. And so Phil Hawks and Rick Wheatfield, who are the security working group co-chairs, will be giving a presentation. I guess that's tomorrow morning Pacific time, 8:15 start, on MIPI security for automotive and IoT, initial focus on mass. And, we do have the new group formed. This has been in formation, I believe, for over a year now, and they're actively developing the security specification. And I'll leave it to Rick and Phil to fill in more details on that. But it's an incredibly important area for MIPI, and finally came to fruition, driven by some of the automotive requirements in the marketplace. In addition, obviously, first and foremost, I've been mentioning other application areas like automotive and IoT. MIPI is a mobile organization. We always will be. And 5G, we've grown up and evolved through, I'd say 2.5G, 3G, 4G, 5G, all of the Gs throughout the MIPI's lifespan. And we do have a white paper on 5G, wiring the future of 5G. We're also engaging in a SWOT analysis, current view of MIPI and 5G, and we expect that we will be updating that white paper probably early in 2022 at this point. But our success has really been driven by the fact that MIPI specifications can be implemented in mobile, low power, high speed, consideration for EMI and EMC. And we recognize that if we do mobile right, it will be fit for purpose for other application areas. And now today we're getting, we're not only just mobile requirements, but we're also getting requirements coming from the automotive industry and IoT and those other application areas that we support as well. Looking at MIPI in IoT, this has been similar to our automotive activities. We're putting some focus in looking at IoT as a cohesive whole. And I think when we started thinking about what do MIPI specifications mean for automotive, it's a simple question, but it's not necessarily a simple answer. And so we're focusing in on IoT. We have a marketing subgroup formed. We also have a white paper that you can download as well, really kind of looking at how MIPI specifications are adopted and implemented in IoT. And we do see this continuing to grow, continuing to evolve, looking at some of our longer reach applications, including AFI, obviously targeted for automotive, but we see no reason why AFI couldn't be adopted and implemented in longer reach IoT applications as well. So this is an area that I think you'll see more from MIPI. MIPI members are certainly there, developing development boards and chips and other applications and devices that implement MIPI specifications. So, expect to see more from MIPI about our IoT activities in the future as well. One of the things that we've focused on, and recognizing that, one of my comments earlier was that MIPI specifications, there's not a lot of places where you can obtain education. And we put a real focus and kind of expanding our educational activities over the past few years with a lot of effort and investment. One is, our webinars. We've been doing webinars for a while now. We're trying to do, number of webinars per year, having at least maybe one per month. And I think we've generally achieved that, over the past couple of years. We have another, basically 3 to 5 minute on-demand sessions called MIPI Bites, which I encourage you to take a look at. These are, subject matter experts who are giving their time and setting up presentations to educate the developer community. And then we also are looking at different workshops. We have an automotive workshop that is coming together for the 17th of November, very similar to DevCon. Not as long, not as many presentations, but a focused workshop on MIPI and automotive with multiple sessions on a single topic with Q&A as well. And so obviously you're here for DevCon, and this is an important event. I'm really looking forward to when we're able to get together in person. And I think those interactions are some of the most interesting interactions that I have in my role, to see the specifications come to life, to see the developers who, have questions, have implementation questions, are able to ask the specification developers questions about the specifications. And I've found that, in some cases they've saved weeks and months of study time just by answering, simple questions that come forward. So encourage you to take advantage of the education sessions. We are putting a lot of resources into that. If you do have particular areas of interest, please don't hesitate to contact MIPI directly. The other point that I wanted to make now, kind of coming out of the strategic priorities, but one of our strategic priorities is also external relations. We don't necessarily do this alone. We work with other organizations, and this is an increasing area over the past few years. We've always had relationships with groups like USB IF, PCI SIG, Etsy, Visa. So we've always had liaisons, but this is an expanding area and one that's active on a day-to-day, week-by-week basis. Some of our newer relationships are with OpenRF, IEEE as well, JASPAR. And so in each of these areas, in different ways, either for the most part, these organizations are implementing or adopting a MIPI specification, or vice versa, MIPI itself is leveraging and adopting a liaison partner specification like DMTF and their security specification, which you'll learn more about during DevCon. And so with that, again, I'd like to thank you. This has been a interesting, certainly a year and a half, or going on 2 years. I know for everybody, MIPI has not had a face-to-face meeting in that time. But as you can see, this has actually been probably 2 of the busiest years, I think, in MIPI's existence, in the number of specifications, the level of activity that we've had. And we only exist for the members. The members drive the activities. The members drive the requirements. We, as an organization, are the stewards of the specifications on behalf of MIPI. So I'd like to thank you, the participants of DevCon. I'd like to thank the members of MIPI Alliance who have really, stayed incredibly active and engaged throughout this time period that we haven't been able to meet. So with that, I wish you a successful DevCon. Please do take advantage of the opportunity. There are people standing by to answer questions, and feel free to interact as much as you can within the platform itself. So again, thank you very much. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm sure many of you have my email address or many more emails from me over the course of time. So thank you again.